Hello everybody, welcome back to another Weather Central forecast. You guys are on a fantastic day. In today's forecast, we will be going over our possible severe weather outbreak to occur this weekend into early and mid next week. Now, there is quite a bit of changes over the last little bit, so we're going to be going over that in this forecast. If you guys haven't already seen my official May outlook, it went out this morning, so definitely go check that out if you guys are curious. So before we start off with this forecast, I would like to start off with a disclaimer that these forecasts are my opinion. They're based off of model guidance and past occurrences of weather. For the most accurate and up-to-date weather, please consult your local National Weather Service office, as they will have more accurate and up-to-date information than I will on these major United States weather events. Let's go ahead and go over to my outlook for this system. So here is my current outlook for this system. Now you guys can see, like I went over yesterday, we're going to have some warmer than average conditions off to portions of the west. Now, that's really going to set up this cooler blast of air that was current into the portions of the west and send that over around here to portions of the central United States, off to the eastern United States as well. We're going to get a lower pressure to develop somewhere around here and track down and then redevelop around. Let me go ahead and actually switch the colors there so you guys can see this just a little bit better. So we're going to have a secondary low developing around here, and it's going to track up through the central northeast there as it makes its way north and east. And what it's going to allow for is a very high Cape event to develop down here and then track off through the portions that lower pressure system is going to move. In terms of my forecast here, this red is a general thunderstorm risk as of now. You guys, especially down in portions of Texas and off to portions of eastern Mississippi and Alabama, you guys could see some possible severe storms. However, I expect generally you guys to stay within that general thunderstorm risk. Like I said, not ruling out any terms of severe weather. Just think it's relatively on the lower scale. Going into this maroon here is where I think you guys could see a little bit of an enhanced version of that thunderstorm risk, where you guys could see some strong storms at times, maybe some isolated supercellular development, but that would be later into early next week. And then I also do think that wind and hail damage is possible, especially on that day 3 probability outlook, where they do have a significant 15% chance of severe weather already issued, which we'll be going over in just a second. And then going into my, did not mean to move that. Going into my next region here, which is my purple here, this is where I'm expecting the worst severe weather to occur right now, whether that be wind, hail, and tornadoes. All hazards is possible right now throughout this area right there, but keep up to date with my latest forecast and the National Weather Service forecast, as that is likely to change over the next couple of days, as we still are quite a bit out from this system. So here we are with our Storm Prediction Center's Day 1 Categorical Outlook. You can see we have a general thunderstorm risk off to portions of the Rockies into the west there. We also do have a generalized thunderstorm risk into portions of Michigan, Wisconsin, into Minnesota as well. And then we do have a generalized thunderstorm risk for portions of the deep south, with a marginal risk issued closer to the Gulf there for portions of western Louisiana into portions of central and southeastern Texas there. Going into our tornado chances here, you can see we do have a 2% for today. That is for portions in that marginal risk. You can see Dallas-Fort Worth metro areas are just on that line of that 2% there. So if you guys are within these regions here, make sure you guys do stay weather aware later into tonight, as you guys could get possible storms that could fire up, that could get a little bit angry, and could try to hinder and produce some tornado warnings. That's definitely not to be ruled out for today. However, it is on the lower scale of probability. Going into our Day 2 Categorical Outlook here, you can see this is where things start to kind of get a little bit more interesting. We have a generalized thunderstorm risk extending off to the Rockies into portions of the Midwest to the South Central, all the way up through the Tennessee, Ohio Valley up to the upper Midwest. And we also do have a generalized thunderstorm risk down to portions of Florida there. And inside of these generalized thunderstorm risks, we do have some marginal and slight risks. We have marginal risks off the portions of eastern Colorado and western Kansas there. And we also do have a marginal risk for portions of the deep south here. And then a slight risk issued within inside of that marginal risk down to the deep south for portions of extreme eastern Texas there, most Louisiana, most of Mississippi, just missing out on the more western portion of Alabama. However, the extreme western portion is seeing a slight risk, and surrounding that would be that marginal. Going into our tornado chances for day 2, they still remain on the lower scale. Now, we're going to have to keep an eye out on this for the later updates because obviously a slight risk is issued, so that's most likely going to be for wind and hail damage. However, we could see possibly a 5% tornado risk be issued somewhere around here, quite possibly. Take what I say with a grain of salt, as I am not a certified meteorologist or anything in that sort of certification there. So if you guys have any questions, please consult your local National Weather Service office. Obviously, you guys can leave down questions for me down in the comments, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my abilities. But I'm obviously not a certified meteorologist, so take what I say with a grain of salt. So the tornado chances remain a little bit on the lower scale in terms of having that slight risk issued. So that is for day 2, so that is for tomorrow, Sunday. Going into our day 3 categorical outlook, we just got this issued due to the fact that it did get into that day 3 range. Yesterday was a day 4, and it was only a probabilistic because it was still more than 3 days out. So going into our day 3 categorical outlook, we can see we have a wide generalized thunderstorm risk here for at least 2/3 of the country. That is for portions of the Northeast down through the Mid-Atlantic, through the Southeast, through the Deep South, off to portions of the Rockies, into the lower Midwest, South Central, up through the Ohio Valley and Tennessee Valley. Those are a lot of regions, but that's basically how much could be affected by this in that generalized thunderstorm risk. Within that thunderstorm risk, we could see a marginal, and that is for portions of Texas up through Kansas, through Missouri, all the way up into the Ohio Valley, back down to the Tennessee Valley. And we also do have, as of right now, a slight risk issued for portions of the South Central into portions of the Ohio and Tennessee Valley. I do expect this to be upgraded to an enhanced risk as we get into that day 2 range and even day 1 range. I do expect it to stay within an enhanced. I don't think that moderate or high is really likely right now due to those capping inversions and really just not too much shear off to the more western portion. Now off to the more eastern portion here is where we do have a lot more shear available. So we're really just going to have to monitor this. I do think that enhanced is definitely possible. Like I said, I don't think that a moderate and or high is too likely right now, and if at all it is likely. So just stay up to date for my latest forecast there. So this is going into our probabilistic on day 3 because day 2 is when you start getting those tornado probabilities issued and hail and wind. So this is basically putting all of those parameters together into one because it's not too confident which perimeter you're going to see the most, but we can see a 15% hatched, which means significant chance of severe weather within portions of the Ozarks up through Tennessee and Ohio Valley. So we're really going to have to monitor this. If you guys are within this hatched risk here, stay weather aware for sure. If you guys are even surrounding that in that 5% chance, stay weather aware for sure, as you guys could possibly be seeing some sort of severe weather hazards. And I do expect within that significant chance to have all hazards. Just what probability you're going to see of those hazards is still up in the air. Now going on to our precipitation here, this is 12 a.m. for May 2nd on Sunday. We can see we have a lot of low air pressure systems associated by the Rockies here. We have some moisture, and this would be Sunday, so this is where we're seeing that temporary severe weather event that will also be affecting portions of the south here where that slight risk was issued. So that's what the radar picture could look like around May 2nd on 12 a.m. on May 2nd for Sunday. So that's really early Sunday morning. Going into 12 p.m., so this is around noontime May 2nd on Sunday. This is what the radar picture could look like. We have some thunderstorms making its way through the Ozarks. We also do have some sort of thunderstorms making its way through Dallas-Fort Worth metro area, through portions of Louisiana, and eventually going to be making its way through portions of the south here where that slight risk was issued. So we're moving this on to 6 p.m. on May 2nd, Sunday. You can see still some of those thunderstorms lurking around portions of the Ozarks down through portions of Louisiana. And you can see it's relatively a slower moving system. However, we still do have some moisture thunderstorms starting to make its way into that slight risk, which would take effect into the day prior or the day after this, which would be May 3rd. So this is 3 a.m. on May 3rd. You guys can also obviously follow the timestamps over here that I did issue on every single slide for this precipitation. You can see we're getting a good amount of possibly rain showers and or thunderstorms developing off to portions of Nebraska, Kansas, through the northeast there. And we still do have some sort of moisture content associated in the Tennessee Valley through the Ohio Valley down to the south. So we're really going to have to keep an eye on this, because this is when that slight risk is issued for these areas. So we possibly could see some strong to maybe severe thunderstorms at times. Going on to May 3rd at 3 p.m., this is what the radar picture could look like. We have some very heavy thunderstorms and or rain showers into portions of Iowa there, and our moisture content has moved north and east and is eventually into portions of most of the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley off to the mid-Atlantic, eventually going to affect the northeast there with some rain showers. And this is what May 4th, Tuesday, could look like. And this is where we really start to see our severe weather pop up down here. Now, I did have a wide range of hours that I did decide to put in this video, so I did miss out the portions where we did see the rain here. This will be a relatively lower moisture content event for these areas that do have the highest Cape Valley, so it will be a 1 supercell chance most likely, maybe a 1 or 2 supercell chance for these areas. So you're not looking at a generalized cluster of thunderstorms rather than a supercellular, single cellular development here. But then once it moves a little bit eastern, we get a little bit more to the east, and we get that low to develop here. We're going to see a lot more clusters of thunderstorms and a lot more less tornado chances due to the fact that it is in those clusters. And I also do think, though, that if you do get some cells east of that cluster of thunderstorms, you could be seeing some supercells, especially within that purplish area that I did issue in my forecast. Like I said, take what I say with a grain of salt. I am in no ways a meteorologist. This is just speculation off of model guidance for me. And then going into May 5th, Wednesday, at around 12 a.m., so midnight, we do have some strong to maybe severe thunderstorms down into portions of Mississippi here. This is past that day 3 categorical outlook, so really all that would be for is a probabilistic, which they haven't issued one yet, so we really don't know the threat as of now. So this is our surface-based CAPE. This is measured in joules per kilogram. It is the food for thunderstorms here. See, we have a very high amount of CAPE associated with this event throughout Texas up to the Ozarks. We're seeing anywhere from 2,250 joules per kilogram all the way up to 4,500 joules per kilogram. You can see our max here is 4,569 joules per kilogram of CAPE, which is definitely well more than enough supportive for these systems. You can see as it moves off to the east, it's a relatively lower CAPE event, still a very strong CAPE event, though, where we could see anywhere from what this is showing just under 4,000 joules per kilogram, but generalized 2,000 to 3,000 joules per kilogram throughout the yellow and orange region there. And then surrounding that, you're maybe just looking at hail and or strong thunderstorms. Moving this on even more, it moves off to this northeast even more. You can see we do have our very strong CAPE values associated into portions of Mississippi into Alabama. So not ruling out tornado chances, as we did see that precipitation lineup as well. So this is our jet stream here. You can see we're going to have a very potent troughing here as these lows move off to the east there. You can see we have a nice ridge here, which is going to allow for right now, this is around hour 57, some nicer conditions, but then that trough is going to move in with that precipitation and really change that over to precipitation as that trough does move. You can see this next little frame, you can see that trough is now associated over here into portions of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. That that ridging is really starting to wind out and move off to the coast there. This is our surface winds here. You can see our winds are coming out of the southeast and moving north just like this. And we're going to translate this over here. Let me go ahead and redraw this here. So our winds are moving north, right, from the due south. Now we're going to translate this over to our upper level winds here. And you can see our winds are coming out of the east here. And what that is that's wind shear for you guys. Winds veering with height is definitely going to be a factor here. And you can see this is where we did have that upper level winds. This is the wind speed of our upper level winds, a couple thousand feet up into the atmosphere. And this is our surface wind. So you can see, like I said, definite wind veering with height there for, our system here. So that is about it for this Weather Central forecast, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy this forecast, and I'll see you guys in the next one.